continuously. Now, like a continuous push. As he's pushing me, his weight is coming into me. So what I want to do is cut up through and then use the hindsight to sweep him off to the side. That means he's going to fall into this punch. So you can use his weight against him. Another way I might want to use this, say for example in sticky hands, if I were going to do the outside jut and chop, if Gavin back braces and uses what's called fox out to defend, I can use hindsight again to sweep that hand out of my way. All right, another way to use hindsight from sticky hands is just to trap him up by clearing the line across, tying the hands. Follow up with gum da. All right, next I'm going into what's called ding sao. I call it J hand because the character ding in Chinese looks just like a capital J in English. And what you're doing is snapping your wrist up, long bridge, without any elbow. So you're learning to use the hand and fingers and shoulder in place of the elbow as a source of power. Now, you don't usually use it just like it is, although I'll show you how you could use it exactly first. For example, against a low-high shot, after gum, I could use ding sao there to block. It could also be used as a hit, so you can use that to strike, like the crane. But normally I don't like so much to block with my wrist up like that. But it does develop a raising power, getting as much as you can out of your hand. Personally, I'd prefer to use what's called fox sao in that situation. A little bit less risk of hurting your wrist. But the raising power that you get from snapping your fingers here is teaching you how to raise without the elbow. So in certain situations, say for the low punch, here, if I want to just raise up to my strike, that's called taikun, raising punch. And that raising punch got its power from the closure of the hand, the snapping of the wrist, and the shoulder, because there wasn't much elbow behind it. It had to just shoot it straight up from there. All right, next I'm going to talk about kao sao, or finger hooking hand. Now what you want to try to do is come up to position here and then whip the fingers over near your ear with a semicircular motion. Now what this is what's called a catch-up trap. It's when your hand is extended and you have to move it backwards for whatever reason. And one of the ways I might use it, say for example, after having done the tak da, I can use kao sao here to re-trap the hand that trapped me. See, the first time I was able to move forward with pak, but now my hand to trap him has to move backwards. And that's where kao sao comes in. Another situation where I might come in, let's say we were open, and for example, the punch came here, and if I went there and he blocked me, well, once I've run, I'm in a little danger of that hand hitting me. So that's where I would re-trap with the kao sao. So again, moving backwards. As another catch-up application, if I had successfully hit him and then he tried to hit me, well, I had to use kao sao there to catch up with his hand and then again to re-trap that hand. So what I did was, came in, hit, then I had to catch up with that hand, so I had to move backwards to catch it. And then now I wanted to hit him again, so I hit, and again I used kao sao to re-trap. All right, another way of using kao sao from sticky hands is to pull him to full extension so you can set up for a number of breaks or other movements. So what I did in this situation was from the tan sao, I ran underneath, and then I moved in with a punch, and I pulled his hand kind of over my shoulder. That set him up with a full extension for an arm break, which I then hooked him out and then re-trapped and hit. Now, I wouldn't want to headbutt him because it might hurt him. All right, next I'm going to talk about ngoi jet sao, outside jerking hand into the changjiang, spade palm attack. So one of the ways that I use this, again, is as a catch-up movement when my hand is already fully extended. So, for example, if the jab came and I had used my bone and went in here and Gavin blocked it and went to punch me, that's where I might use that exact motion. So you can see, after having blocked here, that one's coming in, so I sort of sweep it off to one side, and you can see it's all chambered up and ready to go for that shot. Now you could use it just against a 1-2 open. For example, after jam, here, I could have used it the same way. Because what I did was blocked and then came back and followed that one on its way back. In other words, I do not use ngoi jet out of thin air. If that punch was just coming, I wouldn't do that, because I'd have to waste time extending and then coming back. I would only use it if that first one came, extending my front hand, drawing it back, and that sucks him into the shot. Now in sticky hands, I can use ngoi jet to pull a guy in, especially if he's got a really sort of overly pulling down foot sao. So what I can do is take advantage of that by pulling him forward with my jut, opening him for the chop, and then again, there's that unloading of the hand attacking. So it looked like this. All right, next I'm going to talk about opening my hand after doing the spade palm attack and then closing. What that does is it simulates what's called pan geng sao, or neck trapping hand. Now what happens a lot of times with pan geng sao, let's say for example we're closed. If Gavin gave me some sort of shot and I had done whatever movement to block and then hit to the throat, What they're telling you to do is extend your arm and then trap. That pulls them into different shots. So again, what I did in this case was went here, here, and then there, pulling him in. That magnifies the blow because he can't move anywhere, plus you're pulling him into it. Plus you can't miss hitting your own hand. So in a way, even if you can't see, you can feel where to hit. Now it doesn't have to be a punch. The same technique, I could have gone in here and gone with the elbow shot. Or the same technique, I could have come in here and I could have gone in with whatever, headbutt. So there's different ways that you could use that. All right, next I'm going to talk about the retraction of one hand and the extension of the other in time. This hides what I call the stupid trap because it's taking advantage of someone's stupidity. If they're too stupid to let you go, you can take advantage of them in a certain way. Now, one of the ways I would use what I call stupid trap is, for example, if Gavin had punched here and I stopped it with the shot in this way, what I can do is take advantage of the fact that he's holding onto my hand. See, when he pulls and punches, once I've blocked it and I find that I can't get loose, right, what I do is just apply the trap and then hit him. I could use a similar stupid trap. For example, if he had done pock punch against me and I stopped it here, after having hit him, if he still won't let go, there again, I can retrap this way. So what I did was I got trapped, I hit, and when I did want to retrap and hit again, I couldn't get loose. So that tells me to here while retracting and bang again. All right, another way to use that same stupid trap is from Chisa. When Gavin goes to pull punch after here, once again, I can apply the trap. See? What happened was he pulled and punched. I used my Kwanzaa, trapped him into position, and went in. All right, next I'm going to talk about Tan into Gan. Now you're going to see that I go from Tan position here. I snap my hand in and go near the opposite chest, chambering, and then clearing. Now that's for power, but it's also to clear the line. You don't want to just chop straight down. See, for example, when we're closed, if that high shot comes, say I did Tanda, what I want to do is snap in and clear the whole line so that I can catch that second shot with the same hand. See, so that's why I would want to use two. In other words, if I did not make that round motion, if I went straight down, I might miss that punch and get hit. So instead, what I want to do is clear the line, and that helps me go in with that second shot. Now, another way that I might use that same motion is using the gangsao as a hit. So say, for example, that shot came at me and I had used Tanda. I could use that gangsao to strike instead of using it as a block. So it's the same idea, having blocked here, clear and get the power, and then unload it as a strike. Another way I might use Tan to Gan would be use the Tan to block a high shot, and then a kick could be stopped by the gangsao. So again, it would be high, low, and slowly, high, low. All right, next I'm going to talk about Gan, back up to Tan. And you can see that I smack my body with my elbow on the way up. And that simulates a few different things. I'll show you some of them now. But just talking about gangsao coming up to Tan, there's a couple of ways I could use it. One would be if I had blocked the shot here and then come up with Tan to stop that punch. So that first kick came and I blocked it, then Tan stopped that second shot. Now, if that second shot would have been a hook off the lead hand, I could have snapped up into Tan Pak here. So again, it would look like block and then snap up into the Tan in that way. Now I can also use that Tan Sao as a hit. So after having blocked a low shot here, I can use Tan Sao as an iron palm strike. And you can see that it has whip power to it. So what I do is block and then hit with the Tan Sao. Now I could also use Tan Sao to stop a round kick. For example, Gang to Tan could be used when the round kick was coming at my ribs. I could block with the Gang and then flip up to Tan to trap his leg. So at speed it would look like this. Once again, slowly, block and flip up to Tan. From there you could kick out the base leg, knee, strike, throw. There's all kinds of different ways you could go. All right, another reason why I sort of smack my body with the elbow is to simulate the opponent's punches and picking those punches off with the inward elbow. So for example, body shots. What I did here was use my elbow. I stopped it with just a small batting inward motion of the elbow. Now, smacking your body can also simulate the opponent's arm in a clamping trap. For example, against the jab, after having moved in there with Tanda, I can clamp the opponent's arm against the body and then run him into the shot. So you can see, anytime that I get his arm fully extended there, I can clamp into it, pull him forward, and hyperextend the elbow. then run him into the shot. All right, another way I might use that scooping upward of my elbow is from sticky hands. If Gavin tries to hit low to the body, once I've used Gang Da here, I can go into a trap on the arm. So again, what that looked like slowly. As he attacked, I responded with Gang Da. Then my hand went up to Tan, and that started setting up for the trap that pulled him into the knee shot. All right, next I'm going to talk about Huin Sao into Chang Dai Jian. So circling hand into the low spade palm. Now, what this is also nicknamed is Huin Guat Sao, which is circling sweep. And that's because of the way it's used. Now, some of the ways that I would use it, say for example when the jab comes after jam, I can use Huin Sao to scoop open and open the shot. So again, that looks like this here. Now I could use it against that shot there by the same idea. So what I did was hook it and then moved in with the shot. Now closed, if that punch came after Tanda, I can circle up underneath and go into this shot the same way. So it looks like that there. I can also use it as a defensive motion. When he gets the back of my neck and tries to knee, I can use a double version of that to stop it right at its source. So the double Chang Dai Jian would be used here. Now in sticky hands, I can also use that motion from the inside time position to scoop them open. So what I did here was just Huin, hit, and that one is already loaded for the next shot that's going to come in that way. All right, next I'm going to talk about Bong to Tan. And you see that I drill forward and then drop down to the time. So the time I normally use this combination is against the 1-2. Bong Sao stops the first shot. Now you can see it sort of bounces the hand a little bit. So if he throws me a couple of repeated shots, you can see how it bounces inward and forward. The way I can tell if my Bong Sao is correct is to close one eye. My wrist should block Gavin's throat from my line of vision. In other words, if I can't see his throat when I close one eye, it means he can't hit me. But if I can see his throat, which I can now, that means I can be hit. So that's how you know how high to put Bong Sao up. And as I was saying, usually you would use it with Tan Sao as a follow-up against the 1-2. So it would be here, 1, 2. So slowly, what I did was Bong the first shot, flipped to Tan, dropping that second one down and clearing the way for the punch. Now if we were closed, I might reverse that. Tan the first and then Bong that second shot, follow up. So all I did was block that first shot, flip up to Bong, and then follow up. Or if we were open against that first jab, I could just stop it with Bong and then follow up with what's called lap sao. Here, grab and chop, retrap. It doesn't have to be a chop. I could go here into the punch, or I could go here into the hammer fist. There's a number of ways to go. Even at real close distance, I could go here into the elbow. All right, another way I would use Bong to Tan would be to turn the tables on a grab. If I were grabbed and my arm was in control this way, what I could do is just turn the tables by turning to Tan. That puts his arm into an awkward alignment so it could be attacked, or the body, it leaves the body open. So that's one of the ways I might use it. Another way would be if, for example, in sticky hands or any other combat situation, I had one hand under control but was forced to use Bong to stop the other one. Then I might want to use Tan to open him up so that I could go in with other attacks to the center. See, what I would not want to do is I would not want to stop this shot here and then open up with Tan, because I'd just be doing what I call opening a can of worms. So that wouldn't do me any good. I don't want to get on the inside in a situation like that. But if I have this hand under control, say I've gone here, and then I was forced to Bong Sao here, now it's okay to open him up, see? That's not a problem. Now I can also use Bong Sao after having been fully extended, sort of as a backward moving version. In other words, if we were closed and that first shot came and I used Bu, when the second one came, I could drop back into the Bong position this way. So in other words, I collapsed backwards. That leaves him set up for different shots that I could follow up with. Now in Chi Sao, the rolling hands, remember I have been talking about it all along. Well, there's the Bong and the Tan from Chi Sao. That up in Bong and flip down to Tan. Exactly as it is in Siu Lim Tao. So now you have all the pieces for rolling hands. You have the Bong flipping down to Tan just as it does in the form. And then you have, on the other hand, you've got the clip-on and the throw from the Fuk Sao earlier in the form. So this entire cycle is all cleverly hidden somewhere within the form. All right, next I'm going to talk about Pao Jian, or lifting palm, which you can see in the form forces me to raise my body. In other words, once I've dropped the weight here, I've been sunken throughout the whole form. My weight's been down. Now, this is forcing me to use my spine, lifting behind the shot, creating raising body power. Now, Pao Sao itself can be used in a number of ways, but the reason it's done high in the form is to cause your body to raise. When you use it to attack, you would not use it at that level, because if I tried to attack with this hand at that level, I'd probably break my fingers. So it's used on the lower line. Say, for example, we're closed, or rather closed this way. If Gavin threw me the shot and I had blocked it here, what I would do is use Pao Jian as a low palm strike. See, there my palm heel would be exposed to the hit. See, I wouldn't want to use it high because I could hurt my fingers. And it's here, and then catch that arm. Now, another way to use that is to keep that. So after having hit him with the Jeep Sao, you can keep that and use Pao Sao as an underarm grab. That sets him up for a number of other shots. Pao Sao is also half of what's called Lai Sao, or a double grab, pulling hand. Now, from an open position, after having used Bong, I could go here with what's called Lai Sao, an over and under grab, pulls him into the kick. Then you could follow up in different ways. See? But basically what I did was here, grab and use Pao Sao underneath as half of an over-under grab. That again pulled him into the kick. All right, next I'm going to talk about Treat Sao, or freeing hand. Now you notice in the form, I start out here and both my hands twist so that I'm pulse to pulse at the bottom. And then again, both hands twist and I'm pulse to pulse at the bottom. But on the third one,